Now, few things that are remaining in our part A. The last module we are doing, it is about legitimacy, ideology, power, discourse. Concept of power actually, and power is interrelated to legitimacy. Like I discussed in the last class, there is something called discourse, and there is this Michael Foucault's unique analysis of power, and then there is something called ideology. Now we have already done the ideologies, right? If I ask you, there are several ideologies that we actually did: liberalism, socialism, Marxism, fascism, and Marxism, and what else was there? Feminism. So these are the ideologies given in our syllabus of PSI or optional. Apart from this, there is another entire module on what actually ideology is and how ideologies are shaped. So if I ask you what is ideology, I think you will have an answer that what actually it means. But what is the purpose of ideology, and what it intends to do, and why certain ideologies fail, and why do certain ideologies work, why some work for a limited period and then it tends to succumb to maybe the circumstances or anything. So these are the things that we'll see today. We have also discussed end of ideology. Now I have already told you about Francis Fukuyama. Today we will see some more scholars, what are their views on end of ideology, and is it really the end of ideology as we are witnessing today? So let us start with what ideology is, and what are the different ways of understanding and analyzing the ideology that we shall do today. So what exactly is ideology, and are we actually witnessing the end of ideology? A very related discussion that we have already done, but then we need to do it separately because there is something called meta narrative, and there can be a question to examine the nature and concept of ideology itself, what it is, and where does the origin come from. So, origin is again attributed to French Revolution, and there was this guy, Count de Tassy. He was a contemporary of Napoleon. Now, Tracy would say that you see, French Revolution happened during the era of enlightenment, Renaissance, scientific revolution, all these things were happening. So he was impressed by all these new things that were shaking up of those time when they were happening. And he wanted, because scientific developments were happening, so he said that I will study ideas also in a scientific way. Okay, and there he would define ideology. His definition of ideology would come like it's a systematic study of ideas. But you see, ideology could not maintain the scientific character. Write this, then I'll explain you what we have written. Quickly write this and let me know if you have written. Have you written? Okay. Okay. Now see what is happening with idea, and what are we actually talking here. See, many thinkers from that era, I mean those who were the product of enlightenment and this industrial revolution and scientific development. So they tried to apply scientific analysis in everything that they were doing. So for example, if you apply a scientific theory, science, what is science? Like knowledge of any subject in a systematic and true manner. It is based on experience around you, right? You do something 10 times, 11th time you arrive at a result when there is a uniformity in 10 times. Like the Agni missile covers a distance of 6,000 kilometers. So we say that Agni has a range of 6,000 kilometers. Trace two, not traced by, trace two it will be. Okay. So science is based on evidences that we see around us, and it is true as long as there is no another truth that does not refute it. So if you believe that earth is the center of the universe, we tend to believe it for a long time. Some humans used to believe that until on the contrary was proved. Some people used to think that earth is flat until they were given proof that no, earth is actually spherical. So scientific knowledge can only be refuted by another scientific knowledge. So there is a pattern, there is a universality. Okay, scientific knowledge will hold true in any part of the world. The law of gravitations, the law of physics will be true everywhere, irrespective of the society that we are in. Now, same thing they tried to apply it in the world of ideas. They tried to bring certain objectivity. So if democracy deepens, welfare will increase. Okay, this can be an ideology, an idea, a corollary of democracy, that with the deepening of democracy, the welfare of people might increase. And it is universally true. countries which are very, very democratic are often seen to have a good welfare index as well. But because of certain kind of politics, when the things got politicized, people can also misuse too much of democracy, and the social welfare might decrease. Right? It's a very much possible. Correct. People will tend to protest or create ruckus and riots because they will say that we have democracy. So that will affect the social welfare. So here we see an exception. Are you seeing that what happens in science is dependent on the laws of nature? What happens in the world of ideas is largely dependent also on the human behavior. Did you understand this? Did all of you understand? No. Yes, I'm repeating. Like science has objective truth, universal truth. Ideas can also have universal and objective truth if people behave similarly under similar circumstances. But that does not happen. People tend to do politics. Because of politics, things can be different, behavior can change. Even you can call a good thing as a bad thing and a bad thing as a good thing because you have to do your politics. So that is why ideas could not have the scientific character. The ideologies could not have the scientific character. So in theory, you can say that, like I'll give you an example, practical example, that demonetization may curb the black money. But when it was applied, so many people faced hardships. So in theory, it sounds like a reform, but when implemented, it became problematic. Where is the scientific character here? Something else in theory, something else in practical, right? The behavioral aspect of demonetization was not proposed by the economist, correct? Then democracy. It is said that when democracy deepens, when everyone is very, very democratic, then the welfare will increase. Country will become very happy and khushhal. Welfare state is khushhal state, khushhal rajya, khushhal desh in Hindi. But when some people start to manipulate democracy, misuse democracy, will the welfare increase or decrease? It will of course decrease. When people start protesting and creating ruckus and riots on every government decision, and will say that we are living in democracy, so we'll do it. So in practice, democracy, which was supposed to bring more welfare, it will not be able to bring welfare because people are doing politics on democracy and they are saying that we are a democratic country, so we'll do whatever we wish. Okay, you see the difference. The scientific theories of ideas cannot be exactly replicated in practical. Is it all right now? The one who was having the doubt, who was he? Shreyas. Okay. So moving on from here, it was not very well perceived the way it would have been. Okay. Because the scientific character got lost and ideas got politicized. So after Tracy, who wanted to do a scientific analysis, Karl Marx came. Karl Marx also studied the ideas, concept of ideologies, and he says that ideologies create false consciousness, is what Karl Marx would say. And he called his theory as science. You know, scientific socialism. Said, I am not proposing an ideology. I am proposing science, scientific socialism. Old socialism, famous socialism was ideology. Okay, is what he said because he intended to propose scientific. You know, his socialism is scientific socialism. We have already. How many of you have studied Karl Marx here? Anyone who has not? I'm asking how many of us have are unaware of Marxism. So those who have missed, just let me tell you that no issues. Marx has said that his theory is a scientific theory. Okay, the earlier ones are non-scientific. So he says that mine is a scientific theory. So Tracy would again we already studied it that Tracy would say that ideologies also have a scientific basis. He tried to make an attempt, but he could not succeed because ideologies called politicized. Then Marx started to analyze the ideologies and said that ideologies already create false consciousness. So my theory is actually a science. The earlier ones were ideologies, and because they were ideologies, therefore they created false consciousness. Okay, this is something that we see in Marx. Now, one of Marx's ardent follower, Vladimir Lenin, in USSR. In fact, for the first time, Karl Marx theories were applied for practical was the 1917 Bolshevik Revolution of Russia, which was brought by none other than Lenin. So he said that no, working class needs their ideology. The working class needs their ideology. Now, working class ideology would be communism, what Karl Marx has taught. So Marxism became an ideology. See, Karl Marx himself never said that I am proposing an ideology. He says that I am doing a scientific analysis. It's not an ideology. He was critical of ideologies. He said that all these political philosophers have said this and that. The idea is to change the way people have been thinking. So that's that I am here to change. And this is the Marxism that I'm talking about, the scientific socialism that I'm talking about. It's not an ideology. He's critical of it. But his follower, in fact, the first person who ushered Marxism in 1917 through Bolshevik Revolution in Russia, this you will study in your world history, paper one. Yes, yes, 100%. Lenin disagreed. Lenin disagreed on other things also. We shall see them later. So he would say, no, working class needs an ideology. Okay. And this was much against the wishes of Marx, right? This was actually much against the wishes of Marx when he said this. Working class ideology, this was against the wish of Marx. Right? Can I rub this? Okay, note it down. No, and write something more. Karl Popper. He called Marx an enemy of open society. He said only liberals promote scientific thinking. Yes, yes. You just write it. I'll tell you. Have you written all of you? Okay, I'm rubbing it. Marxism. Okay, he proposes that this is science. It was not science. He said so. And Lenin said, now we need an ideology for the working class. It's been long that Karl Marx proposed his ideology. See, Karl Marx died in 1883. Bolshevik Revolution happened in 1917. Okay, from 83 to 1917. So Lenin said, no, what he said, we need an ideology despite all things that we accept from Karl Marx. I disagree that we do not need an ideology. We need an ideology for the working class. How else will working class put forth its demands? Okay, there has to be an ideology, right? But you see, Karl Popper and other Western scholars are saying that you are a closed system. Only liberals can promote scientific thinking. Marxism is a closed system. There is no scope for any disagreement. You are a determinist. Remember that economic determinism? How many of you remember it? Dialectics. So that's what Popper and other Western liberal thinkers are saying, that you guys talk about determinism and materialism and all these things. So these are determinism. It has to happen. Okay, change in substructure will change the entire superstructure, and thesis will turn into antithesis, which will again turn into synthesis. Yes, inherent fall in. Yes, correct. Within it lies the seeds of his destruction, is what Karl Marx actually said. The withering away of state. So all these things you are saying with so much surety that you are not leaving any room for any kind of difference of opinion. See, try to understand. Okay, leave one thing. See, Karl Marx said with 100% certainty that capitalism will go away. Within it lies the seeds of its destruction. State shall wither away. State will be kept in museum with iron axe and what else he said? Wooden axe and iron plows. Okay, like wooden iron sand plows. You know, Kudal Fabda, you understand? Wooden plows. No one uses these plows right now after industrial revolution. So Marx said that these things are kept in museum for people to come and see. You go to any museum, you will see what yeah yes, the tools on CPI flag. Yes, correct. So Marx said that these things are kept in museum. These are become kind of irrelevant now, obsolete. So likewise, state will be kept in museum for future generation. So see, with how much surety and certainty he is predicting the future, that state shall wither away, capitalism will collapse, nationalism, nations, workers of the world will unite, there will be no boundary between countries. So these are what determinism is. This is what the liberal thinkers like Karl Popper are criticizing, that you are an enemy of open source. You want collectiveness. Okay, workers of the world unite, only workers. Okay, you are an enemy of open society. You are not a liberal thinker. And only liberals will promote scientific thinking because they are willing to accept. A conservative will not like scientific thinking. A Marxist will not like scientific thinking. A liberal may like scientific thinking, is what Karl Popper is saying. That if there has to be a science of ideas, it will only come through. See, everyone is trying to, kind of emphasize on that ours is the scientific version. Lenin did the same, that I'll propose such and such things. Marx is saying, no, I am the scientific socialist. Popper is saying, forget you. Only liberals can bring science. So you see a trend being emerging here, that what I'm saying is scientific, the other one is unscientific, right? Everyone is claiming to be scientist. Understood, all of you? Oh, any questions here? Yes. They are saying that we have more reason and vision and more science and everything. They are saying correct. Can I move now? So a trend emerges that mine is scientific, yours is ideological. You are other, this is mine. Okay, this is what everyone was doing. Now there's this guy, Michael Oakeshott, he's called Oakeshott, English philosopher. He died in 1990. He was born in 1901, England. So he would quickly sum it up that in the field of politics, in a bottomless sea, there is no end to it. It's beyond human capacity to comprehend complex world of politics in totality, he's saying. Yes, after TC, no ideology, almost everyone is saying that we are doing a scientific analysis. Call what differently? Didn't get it. Can you please repeat? No. Analysis is not always systematic. There can be unsystematic analysis also. And it's not that something is systematic, so it will become scientific. There are a posterities, a priori judgments. I think I have given these terms in your you just see the terms that I have given you at the starting of this class, I guess, when we started the Pol Science optional. There I have tried to make it clear. If there is an issue, we can always get back to these things, not an issue. But this is what everyone is doing now. Okay, that my one is the best and yours one is ideological, mine is the scientific. I am the science man. Okay, I'm rubbing it now. This you have already noted, I guess. Now we will discuss the related thing here. The end of ideology. I mean, actually, we have done that earlier also, but then we saw that all the ideologies we studied. Try to understand again. Don't get confused. Like why we are doing it again? Why are we? No, we are not repeating it. That's what I'm trying to tell you, that we are not repeating what we have discussed already. Once I discuss, it will be more clear to all of you. Earlier, we saw that no, all those that we discussed and the resurgence, which Fukuyama himself said that no, it is not the same. It might the end of ideology is not here. It might come back again. That was a part of the ideologies that we studied: liberalism, fascism, feminism, Marxism, socialism. All the things that we studied, it was a part of it. That now the ideologies have ended. Now we are seeing the discourse itself, the thing that why end of ideology is coming. We are not seeing any ideology here. What was end of ideology? This we are seeing. In end of ideology, we have seen that Francis Fukuyama proposed that the Berlin Wall has fallen, Germany is united, USSR has collapsed, Cold War has ended. These three incidences. And he said this is end of ideology. Liberal democratic ideology has won over Marxist socialist ideologies, and this victory is final and decisive. Correct? How many of you are feeling like aliens, not knowing anything? How many of you are not able to understand these things? I want to know. One or two people. Me. Anyone else? Pekka, are you there? I think you were the late entry. Were you there in that class, Galaxy? In Galaxy S6, I again forgot your name. Then how come you are unable to, not able to recall these things? Okay, whether you were there or not, Fukuyama said because of these three incidences that no ideology will come now. It is the end of ideology. Liberalism and democracy have won. Marxism and socialism are gone. Now, how he said that? For that, you need to read the and study what we have already discussed. The new students, of course, there will be again these classes will happen, and the old ones you have all the PDFs and the lectures. And if still there is a doubt, of course you can get back to me. So nothing to worry. I'm telling you the result, not going to the analysis. That liberalism is the winner, and this victory is decisive, final. There will be no alteration. This is the end of ideology. Whatever will happen will be repetitive because liberalism has triumphed over everything. This was what it was. Okay. Now we will see the this is now okay with all of you. New ones okay with all of you. Confused in what, Priyanka? Please let me know. No, Islamic State is not ideology. See, what is your confusion? If you can voice it out, you watch it after the class. Leave it. Don't do it now. By watching the videos, you have become confused. Okay. I'm relieved. See, Islamic State is actually a very old ideology. That's why I have not called it a new ideology. So let us try to analyze the things that now we have to see. Just a few minutes and we'll do it. What is this entire end of ideology issue? Yes, it remains an ideology. So there was this guy, Daniel Bell, and he was happy to witness this World War II, post World War II, politics in Western countries is having broad agreement. See, he's saying that it's very good that now the ideological divisions have been sorted out. There are broad agreements everywhere in Europe because you see, Europe faced world wars. So within 30 years, you fight too many devastating wars. So Europe was on its knees. right? Europe was on its knees. So they had to go for this. These things will be sorted, right? So he was very happy. He said the ideology has ended. Fascism and communism has lost their appeal. Okay, because all the parties disagree only about which of them could best be relied to deliver economic growth and material prosperity. No one is talking about expansions. No one is talking about colonies. Every party is talking about how in a best way they can deliver economic growth. So economics has taken over politics. Parties here are the political parties. Kindly note it down. Noted. Can I rub it now? No, no, they disagree how best they can deliver. Someone will say, no, no, we will do it in this way. The other one says, no, no, we will do it this way. So economic driven politics, as all parties disagree only on how best they can deliver. Or you can frame it in a better way. All parties disagree only on which of them can best deliver economic prosperity. Only on which of them, how best they can ki jagah, you can write. Now it's okay. Is it making sense now? So I'm rubbing it. Now you see here that a very relevant thing is end of history. Now this was Francis Fukuyama. No, he wrote this essay in 1989 and then he added to it. He updated his essay in 1992. End of history and the last man, he called it. So he, unlike Bell is saying that political ideas have become irrelevant. He's not saying that, but he's saying one particular idea. What is that one particular set of ideas? The Western liberalism. Okay, the Western liberalism had triumphed, won victory over all the risers. Okay, history of ideas over. Okay, liberal democracy, market or capitalist economy, competitive political system is here to stay, is what he's suggesting, right? So this is where he differs from Bell. But then, can I rub this? Okay, I'm rubbing it. Fine. But see, what is the problem with end of history? No doubt they are in. Liberal democracies are the fashion, right? This we can say. Can you name a revival of other ideologies? Anyone? Yeah, someone did. What was that? Not exactly socialism. Welfare state again is a part of liberalism itself. Right or wrong? Are they democratic? Not at all. Uh, Aren't you aware what is happening in France? It has in kind of spread, and the death of communism when USSR collapsed. This happened in 1991. This was accompanied by revival of nationalism. In Europe, this is a bad word. This is a very bad word. Racialism, and this is the worst. So you see, these many isms are coming up. Okay, so how is it this comes under question? Okay, now all of you understood? Yes, theocratic monotheism will always be there. That is what Islamism is. Political Islam is nothing but theocratic monotheists. Environmentalism has not become still a very profound ideology. Also, vegans. These vegans are asserting themselves, but still, long way to go. Noted. So now you see what else is here. That there is this feminism, all these racism, nationalism, political Islam. It will be under religious fundamentalism, ecologism, okay, multiculturalism. All these, have each in their different ways opened up new directions for ideological thinking. I can write this. Have opened up new directions for ideological thinking. Right? Note it down. Now, what else is happening? Marxists never accepted end of ideology. It was considered as a concealed project of Western scholars. They would say that, Western liberal thinkers want to establish the supremacy of liberal and market friendly democracies as a way of life. So they never agreed with it in the first thing itself. Now we see rise of postmodernism. Have we covered postmodernism? I think I made you write something. Have we? Can you recall? Okay. Yeah, the brief thing was needed. Postmodernism rises to the occasion. And what is postmodernism? Is I tell you, it is a very controversial term actually. It's a confusing term. And it was used to describe certain experimental movement in Western art, cultural development, architecture, etc. So it's a tool of social and political analysis, and postmodernism highlights the shift from societies that were structured by industrialization and class solidarity to increasing fragmented pluralistic information societies. What was that? I'll again repeat it, not to worry. It is highlighting the shift. No, post-truth is different. Please, post-truth is different. Leave it for now, else everyone will be confused. Shift from societies structured by all these advanced countries, the Western European countries, the USA, and after Second World War, everyone was more or less thinking similarly. So there was this class solidarity also, which I just wrote. Class solidarity to increasing fragmented instead of class solidarity, fragmented and pluralistic, more than one view. Okay, information societies, you see, with the advent of internet, everyone has his or her own version of things have emerged. This is what it is. Shift from not after colonies or British became independent. This is not even in context of colonies, where colonies structured by industrialization, Vishnu, where colonies having class solidarity. I mean, India and Pakistan and Bangladesh and China all fighting among themselves. And do you see class solidarity? Then see, everyone try to analyze. I'm glad you asked this. Which societies were structured by industrialization and class solidarity? The Western societies. What did this guy say? Remember, we started this entire debate, this entire thing with Daniel Bell, and he says that, oh, Second World War has ended, so there is not much ideological thing left. Only the debate is how we will deliver it. Economics has triumphed over politics, is what you are saying. Correct? Now all of you understood? So what happens in postmodern societies is that, you see, I'm elaborating it. See, individuals from producers become consumers. Individualism replaces class, religious, and ethnic loyalties. Nothing is certain, no absolute or universal truth. This is postmodernism. So when you see a Chris Gale batting and a Sunil Narayan bowling, I mean, which team both of them used to play for? Not very long back. All of you know the answer. So where is the loyalty? When you see, I remember then, okay, let me make a confession. I am a diehard Manchester United fan, and I'm saying it in a very feeble voice because my team is not doing well. So I remember when we sold Cristiano Ronaldo to Real Madrid, and there was a match between Madrid and United. So it was like that time to face the beast that we have created. CR7. Where's the loyalty? This is postmodern world. Come on, don't get me going on this topic now. Bad teams. Come on, you must be a scouser or a Barca fan. Okay. So the thing is, where are these class or religious or ethnic loyalties? This is nothing is certain. No absolute or universal truth. Okay. Understood all of you with these examples? Chelsea, team of mafia, Abramovich. Okay, is it all right? Postmodernism is all right with all of you? Ladies, any issues? I mean, nationality, ethnicity, religious affiliations, nothing is there. No universal truth, individual. And the individual is deciding what he or she will do. This is postmodernism. So where is that decisive victory which Fukuyama and Bell are claiming about? Can I move from this? All of you have understood? Please ask questions if you have any. See, please, if you have questions, feel free to ask. Else I'll move. Okay. Now, why did we were discussing why postmodernism emerged, and I explained you what is postmodernism. Yes, you read it right. Influence of Albert Einstein. How? All of you are engineers, I'm told, most of you. So he challenged Newtonian physics that there are some fundamentals that will never change. Universe can be understood only through some objectivity. Einstein said that when a particular phenomena is observed, we need to see from where the phenomena is being observed. Time and space matters, right? Earlier it was, what was the view earlier before Einstein? Newton? Yes, the relativity. Earlier it was said, what is objectivity? All of you have to agree. In your prelims, it is objective. There is only one correct answer for anyone. Main is subjective. So universe has to be objectivity. There has to be unanimity. Certain assumptions will not be questioned. Some fundamentals will never change. Now Einstein will challenge it. What will he say? That any phenomena, while observed, we need to see from where it's observed. Once he was asked theory of relativity. Note it down. I'll tell you a very interesting story. So note it down. Can I rub it? Okay. Now, what happens here? You know why time and space matter so much. Do you know what happened when Einstein was asked to explain relativity in a very simple term? The example that he gave, how many of you are aware of it? Anyone? No. I'll tell you on hot pan. Yeah, you know, and I guess all of you will relate to it. He said that when a man sits with a beautiful girl for an hour, it seems like a minute, and make him sit on a hot pan for a minute, and it will become an hour. This is relativity. Agree? All of you remember this? So time and space matters. How can you say that everything is same? Too clear to understand, right? It was Albert Einstein's theory of relativity. I mean, there cannot be he actually altered the view of world. General theory of relativity, the special theory of relativity, and theory of quantum mechanics. So these are the three things. Einstein was largely responsible for first, was entirely responsible for second, and played a major role in the development of third. So now see how Newton, who was considered father of calculus, considered too rubber to be touched. Now he comes and he says no, time and space would matter. Now, again, from that, the postmodernists were very much inspired. That when Einstein can challenge Newton, we can also challenge, photoelectric effect. I hope you know what is photoelectric effect. A certain frequency you utter and electrons are emitted. Okay, you see the urinals. Once you have used them, the water comes without touching it. Photoelectric effect. Okay, so the same thing. Yes, yes, he got Nobel this prize for photoelectric effect, not for relativity. As you said, that too simple to be understood. So what is simple does not fetch a Nobel Prize, right? Effect of Albert Einstein is attributed to postmodernism. Now, second is apart from Einstein, Thomas Kuhn. He gave the concept of paradigm. Now, what is paradigm? It's a conceptual framework. Even scientific theories are paradigm. Okay, so what happens when you understand the literal meaning of the word paradigm? Yes, pattern. There's this very good book by Gurcharan Das, The Elephant Paradigm. Try reading it someday. Okay. So when an existing paradigm is working, it provides answers to many puzzles and doubts. So as far as Soviet Union was working fine under Lenin and Stalin, so they were even able to do things for themselves. They increased the production, they did everything. But when questions, doubts increase, then existing paradigm can't answer. New paradigm emerges. This simply says no knowledge is final. They are not independent of time and space. Okay. So there are so many things that has come up with postmodernism, right? Please note it down. Noted. Yes, yes, like computer languages. Which is the in language? C. C is old, I guess. C plus. I'm not a computer guy. That's why I'm asking. Because when I was in school, then C plus plus was the thing. Perl, Sharp. Yeah, yeah. I've even heard about. I don't know any of them. I don't know even C because I was not a computer guy. Python, okay. And there was something called COBOL, Fortran, Pascal also, which we used to study when not study. We were given references of these things in schools. So languages keep evolving, ideologies keep evolving. This is what postmodernism is telling us. Now we will not forget postmodernism. All of you? Okay. So I'm stopping it here. The next thing that we'll do, I intend to finish this. Okay. I intend to finish this narrative tomorrow. Fukuyama has actually revised his view. I'll tell you tomorrow what he has said. He initially did not agree, but then 2 years back he has agreed. He's still there. Fukuyama is still floating around, so he keeps updating things. One of the most foremost political thinkers of our time, Francis Fukuyama. Michael Foucault, we are seeing one of the most influential and intelligent political thinkers of our times. So we will see how postmodernism emerged, how what is meta narrative we will see. That is important for your exam, and then we will move to power. What I want to tell you, actually, these things are related to power also. So there we will see Michael Foucault, and Foucault in turn is inspired by the likes of Nietzsche. You know what God is that? Why he's saying God is that? Because nothing is final. God is the final authority, the alpha and omega of the universe. Right? So when God is dead, how can anything be decisive and final. That is why Nietzsche said that God is dead. So that inspired Foucault, and Foucault will give his own definition of power, and that is very important for your exam. So I think tomorrow we will cover a decent thing. By Friday, I think I'll be done with your today's 27, 28, and 21. Yes, 100%. If not Friday, then by Saturday. We are going on the right track. And I have already started compiling your hard copies, because most of you told me that you understood things, but you think that you will run short of words. So I've started to compile. I'll bring them with me and hand it to each one of you in the month of November. Okay. So nothing to worry about. Please focus on understanding. I can assure you that you will not run short of words. Yes. We intend to finish each and everything by 15th of March. Nothing will remain, including your optional. So just here you need to say that you have understood things. If you have not understood things, then it will be problematic. Problematic as in I'll have to explain it to you again, nothing more than that. Okay. Just work on these things, the basic modalities of the subject. It's a very lively and very contemporary subject. Learn to enjoy this subject. There is no looking back. You can get very good marks. I mean, I don't see any one of you scoring less than 250. I mean, close to 300 would be exception, but I'm normalizing it. Okay. You have to. Okay, then we'll meet tomorrow.